Yo, what is up guys, my name is Hakiii, and in this video we have the best cars that came out way too long ago that are still pretty good in GTA Online. Some of these came out like 6 or 7 years ago, and some of these came out when the game first got released like 10 years ago at this point. Now beginning with the armored Kuruma, this was like the best vehicle when the first heist update came out. It did come out with the original heist update and everyone was using this car for pretty much all of the heists, and it was extremely useful as well. I don't think there was a really useful car with the bullet protection like the armored Kuruma before it came out, so the Kuruma really started a big trend in GTA Online that now you would see the Night Shark have it, the Duke of Death have it, and many more vehicles, the half track as well. All of those have the window plating, thus the bullet protection, and the armored Kuruma was the very first of those. Now sure, there's better options like let's say the Night Shark, but the Kuruma is still a great choice for beginners. It's much cheaper than most of the armored vehicles we have in the game, and if you happen to be looking for a cheap armored vehicle, this is a great choice. Then we have the Gauntlet Hellfire. It's a super popular muscle car in GTA and also a super popular one in real life as well. If you don't know, it's based off a Hellcat, which is extremely popular as I said, and it's been in the game since the very start, and to this day it's still really appreciated by the muscle car community, and it's a great vehicle for drifting. Now something I really like about it is also the customization. Usually older vehicles, and by older vehicles I mean vehicles that have been in the game forever and not like actual like classic cars. Usually older vehicles just don't have nearly as much customization as newer ones that came out after the release of the game and in the recent years. But the Hellfire is actually an exception. It's got a decent variety of customization to go through, like headlight and rear light covers, also a good amount of spoilers, hood options. This one's a must-have if you like muscle cars. So next up we have the ultimate OG supercar that's to this day such a good supercar to buy, both for beginners and just supercar collectors in general. I'm referring to the Zentorno. It came out in 2014 and there's so many good things I like about it, one of them being the engine sound. It's relatively loud and I enjoy it. Also price-wise, it's a very good bang for your buck vehicle. It only costs $725k and it's well worth the price if you ask me. For that price point, it's relatively fast, it's got great handling, and last but not least, it's got great customization, even better than the Hellfire. The thing with this one though, it didn't always have good customization. When it first came out, it had an okay amount for that period of time, but in a recent DLC, it got extra customization, so it made it well worth it. And so now when you take it into Los Santos Customs compared to a couple years ago, it's so much better. It has a lot of cool looking liveries, a lot of spoiler options, and several other cool things you should check out. Highly recommend this one. Now next up is going to be a sports car. It's a super OG sports car, the Dubach Massacro. This was one of my first vehicles in the game, and it's known to be the very first sports car that was actually the best of the best in that class. Before we got the Itali GTO and the Itali RSX and all the other great sports cars that now just like dominate that class, in the old days of GTA Online, the Massacro was the go-to car for sports races, and a lot of people would be roaming around with it in free mode as well. Then we have the most recently released vehicle on this list that still came out 6 years ago. We're talking about the Duke of Death. Many people would say this is a better version of the armored Kuruma. There's one specific thing that makes it a lot better in my opinion, which is the explosive resistance. So with the armored Kuruma, it blows up after one RPG or missile, but with the Duke of Death, it takes several missiles to fully blow it up, which makes it a lot more of a safer vehicle, especially with all the jets and oppressors flying around in free mode sessions. The Duke of Death is probably a better option, and believe it or not, it's actually completely free. It used to be more expensive than the armored Kuruma. The armored Kuruma is like about $500,000 or $600,000, so the Duke of Death used to be more expensive, but then it became free, and now it's one of the must-have vehicles. Really, you only just need to spend money on the upgrades and customization. Besides that, you have a really useful vehicle. It's also got the window plating like the Kuruma, even though if you take a look at it, the passenger seat is much more protected than the driver's seat when it comes to the bullet resistance. Then we have the Pontiac Phoenix. I really like this vehicle. It's been in the game since the very start. It is technically a street vehicle, believe it or not, even though it's hard to find it. You have to be at a certain place at a certain time. I like pulling the two-wheeler wheelies with it, and the look of it just gives me like retro muscle car vibes from like the 90s or 80s. I don't know exactly what year the real life version of this vehicle is from, but it gives me that like retro muscle car vibes, which I really like, especially with the high level spoiler. That's one of the big highlights when it comes to the looks of the car. The high level spoiler is crazy. You can also make the roof of the vehicle almost completely clear, which I think is a very cool look. It's got a nice engine sound, great customization, overall great vehicle. And now if you want to see the best vehicles under 500k in GTA Online, click the video on screen now for it. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.